Welcome back to How Strange. Today's story is in 1933, France. We'll be talking about the murder, incest, and two sisters whose names haunt France to this very day. They are known for the heinous murders of Madame Leonie Lancelin and her daughter Genevieve. The nature of the murders was so brutal that they have horrified the world and fascinated criminal psychologists, as well as philosophers and movie producers. The names of the sisters, Christine and Léa Papin, also known as the Murderous Maids. It was just another ordinary Thursday evening in France on February 2nd, 1933. René Lancelin, a retired lawyer living in Le Mans, was at his brother-in-law's house for dinner. He was supposed to meet there with his wife and daughter, but the two were running late. Monsieur Lancelin was not worried at first, knowing the two women had spent the day shopping, and maybe they hadn't managed to get ready in time. But as the time passed, and Madame Leonie Lancelin, along with her daughter Genevieve, was still not there, he became worried. Monsieur Lancelin decided to go back to his house to see what had kept them behind. Upon arriving, he found the door shut and the lights off. The only visible light was coming from the third floor, the maid's room. Thinking his family had left the house, he returned to his brother-in-law's, but the two women were still not there. René Lancelin turned back to his home, this time accompanied by a friend. Finding the house in the same state as before, they decided to call the police. Two police officers arrived at the house and managed to gain access through the back door. The scene they found had made them believe that a psychopath had attacked the family. Both Leonie and Genevieve were severely beaten and mutilated. Their eyes were gouged, and everything was smeared in blood. Madame Lancelin's eyes were found folded in her scarf. One of Genevieve's eyes was found under her body, the other on the stairs. The officers ordered Monsieur Lancelin and his friend to remain outside. The officers then rushed upstairs to check the rest of the house. They saw candlelight coming from under one door on the third floor. It was the maid's bedroom. The two maids were found sleeping in the same bed, naked. Next to the bed was a bloodied hammer, smeared with brain matter. They were both arrested, and they confessed everything. Christine and Léa Papin were the middle and youngest of three girls to Clémence and Gustave Papin. They had a troubled childhood, being raised more by other relatives than their own parents. All of the girls were sent off to Bon Pasteur Catholic Orphanage, a ruthless establishment. Amelia, the oldest, decided to become a nun at 16. Christine and Léa were both retrieved from the orphanage by their mother when they became legally employable. The two youngest Papin girls, although 6 years apart, shared a powerful bond that lasted into adulthood. In 1926, Christine, 22 at the time, managed to obtain a job as a live-in cooker for the Lancelin family. And 2 months later, Léa, 16, came to work too for the family as a live-in maid. The two used to work 12 to 14 hours a day, and on Sundays, they had half a day free to attend church. Apparently, life with the Lancelin family was good for the sisters. They had new clothes for Sunday Mass and made around $2,000 per year. Thanks to Madame Lancelin, who prohibited them from sending all of their gains to their mother, they managed to keep the money for themselves. But things were not as good as they seemed from the outside. Madame Lancelin was a harsh employer. She used to conduct white glove tests and was physically abusive with the sisters. The girls were not allowed to directly approach their masters. In fact, Madame Lancelin was the only one communicating with them, usually through written messages. Monsieur Lancelin never addressed them one single word in 7 years of employment. Now let's go back to what happened on February 2nd, 1933. It seems a broken fuse was the reason behind everything. During the day, Madame and her daughter went shopping and planned to go straight to her brother's house for dinner. That meant the servants weren't expecting anyone from the family to be home until later that night. One of Léa's duties for the day was to take the household's broken flat iron to the electrician to get it fixed. Upon returning, she plugged it in to do some ironing, but it shorted out the power in the house. Since the family was not expected home until late, Christine decided to deal with the fuses later in the evening. She later discovered it was not a good choice. Sometime in the afternoon, Madame and Mademoiselle returned home unexpectedly. Christine met them at the door to tell them what had happened. According to Christine, the news made Madame Lancelin throw an angry fit. Allegedly, Christine took a pewter jug in self-defense and hit Madame in the head with it. Genevieve, wanting to help her mother, threw herself over Christine. Hearing the noise from the room she was in, Léa joined in and attacked Madame, who had just regained consciousness. Seeing Madame come back to life, Christine shouted at Léa to smash her head into the ground and tear her eyes out. Léa, obediently, did precisely what she was told to do. Christine did the same to Genevieve. After they had gouged the eyes out of their victims, the two maids went to collect some weapons. Along with the pewter pot, they took a kitchen knife and a hammer. The sisters switched the pewter pot and the hammer back and forth and beat the two women to death. When they were sure the women were dead, the Papin sisters continued in their folie à deux and prepared the bodies as one does with rabbits for cooking. As a final macabre act, they raised the deceased women's skirts over their now unrecognizable heads and carved into their buttocks and thighs with the knife. Genevieve Lancelin was menstruating at the time, and they put her blood on Madame Lancelin as though they were basting her. The gruesome attack lasted for about 30 minutes. Exhausted, the sisters cleaned up the mess and went to bed together. A few hours later, the two police officers barged in and arrested them. Christine was the one who did all the talking, Léa only agreeing with her sister's testimony. Their motive was self-defense. Christine told the officers, "It was her or us." During their trial, the sisters' legal team argued an insanity defense on their behalf, but the court found the sisters sane and therefore guilty. Christine was condemned to death by guillotine in the public square at Le Mans on September 30th, 1933. Léa was convicted only to 10 years of hard labor. The court believed Léa was under her elder sister's influence and was not fully condemnable for her acts. While waiting for her sentence to be fulfilled, Christine had manifested psychotic behavior, having violent fits and hallucinations. She also showed signs of depression, refusing to eat or drink, and begging for her sister. In 1933, she tried to tear her eyes out and was put in a straitjacket. On the opposite side, Léa seemed to flourish without her sister's hold on her. Because the episodes became extremely bad, the warden allowed Christine to see Léa. During their reunion, it was reported that Christine tried to unbutton her clothes and begged Léa to say yes, please. On January 22, 1934, President Albert Lebrun changed Christine's sentence to a life term of hard labor. She was transferred to an insane asylum in Rennes a few years later. On May 18, 1937, Christine Papin died of cachexia. She had starved herself to death. Léa Papin was released after only 8 years, in 1941, due to good behavior. She changed her name and went to live with her mother in Nantes, where she found a job as a hotel maid. Some say that she had died in 1982, while others, like Claude Ventura, a French film producer, claim that she died in 2001. No one knows the truth. The Papin sisters' case is still a mystery to this day. Many voices of the time claim they suffered, in fact, from some form of mental illness. Others claim the sisters snapped due to the miserable working conditions for domestic laborers, making it an example of class warfare. What do you think had happened with the Papin sisters? Was it madness? Or was it from the effect of years of abuse?